So why do I think there's a problem with enhancements? Well, there's a number of problems with enhancements, in my opinion, and I'm going to talk about those briefly. And also, I want to hear your comments. Like, I'm really interested to see what the community thinks. This is something that, I've been wanting to get off my chest for a while. Not really, a beginner channel video, but, I think now is the time. Maybe some of this is controversial, maybe it's not. I mean, I generally just see threads out on the internet of people, what are the best enhancements, that sort of stuff. So, first off, let's talk about what the problems are. Part of what makes a game great is its ability to, at times, make you feel overpowered and at times make you feel underpowered. And so you want to feel overpowered because you want to realize the gains that you've made based upon a build or working towards that special item, that magic sword, whatever it may be. When you get something like that, you should feel overpowered. But the problem is, if you feel overpowered for too long, it gets boring. It's like if you could, have cake for every meal. At some point, it's just like, you know what? The cake's just not doing it for me anymore. Humans are naturally built like that. When it's too easy, there's no challenge. Nothing feels special. It's like, a trust fund kid who, has $1 billion. They never have to work. They never have to really dig deep. They never have to, reassess what they're doing, right? Like, I mean, that's a generalization, but you get what I'm saying. When it's too easy, you don't have to strive. And we need to strive. And this is getting a little deep, but I've wanted to get this, like I said, off my chest for a while. I actually don't like enhancements. So let's take an enhancement like Curse, right? And a card, the Craghart's Dirt Tornado. You put Curse on this level 1 card for a fairly reasonable price, and all of a sudden you can curse 5, 6, 7 times per rest cycle, use a minor stam, do it 2 turns in a row, and you've taken a class that's about obstacle manipulation and is really cool and thematic and nicely balanced, and you've pretty much ruined that class just by putting one enhancement on a level 1 card. And I don't really enjoy it because it stops you from having to strive, right? You should strive. And this is why I like level 9 cards. Level 9 cards are good. They should be overpowered because generally you're only there for a little while at level 9. And you can go longer sometimes if you've got some sort of impossible personal quest, and that's a conversation for another day. So if you've got an impossible personal quest, you can stay there for a while. But generally, you just want to be overpowered for a short period of time and then be able to reset, do something different, etc. Because, being a god all the time sounds like fun, but it's actually not fun. There's probably a few outliers out there. Make sure you comment below. Let me know if you like, being overpowered all the time. But I don't. And so, being able to, add Curse to Dirt Tornado just ruins the Craghart, in my opinion. It makes the game a lot less fun, and it's just not that great. So take a card like the Spellweaver's Fire Orbs. That's a good card for enhancing, right? A good card for enhancing because it doesn't necessarily become overpowered. You can't throw out like 6 or 8 curses in one turn. And so that's an example of a good card, right? Add +1 to the damage, and now it becomes more viable later in levels. Add a target and, attack 4 on 4 targets. That's pretty good, but it's not game breaking. And that's really what I think enhancements need to be. And so coming up, I'm just going to talk about, how I think enhancements should work. But first, if you can, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. And also, I'm an affiliate of Noble Knight Games. They've got a ton of old games. They've got the largest selection of games in the world. It's amazingly impressive. any kind of old game or anything that's out of print that you're looking for, they're going to have it. If you can help support the channel, there's a link I've put down in the description. You can just go and click on that. I make a small commission and everybody wins. And then just one more thing, shout out to Big Viking Mats. They gave me this mat for my game table and I love it. Thanks a lot. Okay, now that I've bashed a main part of the #1 rated game in the world, at least according to Board Game Geek, let's talk about what I would do. And I'm really curious about what you guys think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? And if you do have solutions, make sure you comment down below. So the first is you can really just have the difficulty go higher, right? And this, allows overpowered builds to maybe be less overpowered. I don't know if given the way it currently works to increase difficulty, essentially mostly, more hit points and a little bit more attack, move, maybe a little more range. I don't know if adding these difficulty levels would really solve, like a cursed NATO problem like I was talking about. But let's say it does. You can't have like multiple cards for every monster. So if there was just an official PDF you could download with monster levels 8, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever it was, that would help somewhat and allow us min-maxers who are really into the game and are really playing it hard to increase that difficulty and, give us more of a challenge. Because right now, you add a couple key enhancements and you can mop the game for the most part. Okay, my next potential solution is you would actually take away enhancements. And before you go crazy in the comments, I just think that it would be easier and it would make more sense if some cards powered up after a certain level. So let's take Fire Orbs. At levels 1 to 4, it would be at its current power. And then level 5 plus, there would be text on it showing the power at level 5. Add +1 to damage and range, or add a target, or something along those lines, so that it stays a little bit more viable as you move through the levels, because a card like Fire Orbs doesn't scale very well. My next point is sort of similar to the last one, except you still keep enhancements. Yay! But they have to be changed in how they work. One, enhancements can't add curse, disarm, they can't add conditions, because then you have to be very careful about, what you allow enhancing on. And I think, and I see some of this happening already in the, the new Frosthaven classes and the new Jaws of the Lion stuff. They're getting much better at figuring out how enhancements break the game. And I mean, it's complicated, and so no shots being fired here by me. These are just my thoughts on, how it works. And I think, Frosthaven is going to be a lot better. But one, no conditions. You can't add conditions because, again, back to the Cursed NATO example, it just completely changes the Craig cart. Like, it throws everything you've built out the window, and you can just rely on this one spammable ability. I know you don't have to. I know you can house rule things. I know it's a board game, but it still feels better to me for sure, and I think to a lot of people, if it's just officially set up that way instead of always having to house rule. I don't know. I like house ruling in some instances, but I would prefer if I never had to house rule. Like, I prefer playing, and it's one reason why I prefer board games over Dungeons and Dragons. I prefer more structure. I like the rules to be laid out so that when I win, it feels fair, and when I lose, it feels fair. Anyways, I'm digressing here. We should only have earlier level cards. So first, no conditions. Next, earlier level cards should mostly be enhancement targets. Later level cards don't need to be enhanced. I mean, we should be staying to the first couple levels, and you should only be able to add targets, add +1 to damage, add +1 to move, etc., so that it makes it more viable as you level up. And that would be fun because then you could have a lot more cards. The more viable cards you can have in a class, the better, because it just opens up the options and it allows you to do all those fun things when theory crafting, making builds, all that good stuff. Like if every single card could be viable, and I mean it can't, that's not real, but that would be the ideal situation. So those are my thoughts. Make sure, comment down below, and thank you so much for watching the video.